And today's topic of discussion is going to be communication, more specifically, direct communication, and why so many people seem to lack the ability to communicate directly. And this is something that's bothered me for a long time, ever since I was really young. Is that people, for whatever reason, don't know how to talk to someone like very clearly and directly. They seem to almost like be fearful of communicating openly and honestly with someone, which tends to lead to problems because when you don't explain to someone what it is exactly that you are thinking about or like that you want them to understand, then they don't understand what you're saying. And then that just leads to like chaos down the road because then this person might have heard you say one thing and interpreted it in their head in their own way rather than you both coming to like an understanding of like what needs to happen or like come to an understanding of like, yes, this is exactly what I mean, and we both understand that this is exactly what I mean. And like, yeah, of course people twist things in their head and they make it like, well, you said this even if it's not something that you actually said. But typically with direct communication, you kind of eliminate all of those issues because you tell someone exactly what you mean, you say what you mean, and then you open the floor. If the person has questions, they can ask them, you answer again directly and honestly, and you communicate with them. And then you guys have a clearer picture of what's going on. Um, and I say this as someone who has always been very open and honest and like clear about what I need and like what I want. Um, at least in terms of like communicate, like especially when it comes to like school or job, like I've always been very like, yeah, this is what's going on and this is what needs to be done. And that's kind of the environment I've always flourished in, is like when I feel like I can easily understand what's expected of me, I can easily understand what the rules are, what's going on, and that just makes things go smoothly for me and everybody else involved. And I know I say this as someone who is autistic because I know it's a big thing with those of us who are neurodivergent or like specifically on the, who are autistic, because it's very frustrating when you yourself are a very honest and direct communicator and everyone else around you seems to not be that. And so you end up with people kind of looking at you like you're odd for being very direct and straightforward with someone. And you end up looking at them like, no, what's your problem? Because I'm communicating in a way that I know that most everyone will be able to understand, while you are like using like subliminal messages and like hints and clues that I'm supposed to somehow pick up on instead of just using your words and telling me what you want. I know I sound like harsh right now, but it's just something that irritates me, and it's been irritating me a lot lately because I feel like there's just always miscommunication and it's just like constant, and I can always see when things are just constantly being said over and over and over again, and it's like we wouldn't have these problems, or we would eliminate most of these problems if whatever issue you have, you can just say it very bluntly. This is the problem. That's all you need to do. Just say it so that someone knows what they're supposed to do. No one's a mind reader. We can't just assume just by like the way that you like look that we're supposed to understand what it is that you want us to do. And I say this like even outside like any kind of relationship, like friendship, anything, there always seems to be this like lack of communication, like where people just, even with people they're very close with, and I know it comes from like this fear of obviously like sharing things that might be uncomfortable. Some people are kind of iffy about like being very emotional, and maybe if they talk about something that means a lot to them or something that's bothering them, they might feel emotional, and or they might worry that the person they're telling maybe again might not understand, and they might judge them. But for me, I've always been one of those people like, if you're gonna judge me or try to misconstrue what it is that I've said, like you can go ahead and do that. But I know that I have done my best to try to communicate my feelings and emotions as clearly as possible. Uh yeah, it's so frustrating because it's something I deal with all the time. And then I hate this idea that if you are like a direct communicator and if you're clear and honest, people take that as like, they seem to take it as like a personal attack. Like you're being like, oh, you're being too blunt, or like, oh, you're being aggressive. It's like, what are you talking about? Because I'm coming to you directly and like explaining something to you, that's aggressive. it just doesn't make sense to me. Or like, that's too blunt. Like, people always have, they say that a lot, like, oh, you're too blunt. It's like, what am I? Not to me specifically. I was just saying, like, people say that a lot to people who are direct communicators. Like, you're too blunt. It's just like, what do you mean? Because I'm telling you how I feel? Isn't that what you want? Don't you want to know how I feel? Like, would you rather me lie? And that's something I always say to people. It's like, do you want the truth or do you want me to tell you what's going to make you feel good? Because I can tell you what's going to make you feel good, or I can lie to you if that's what you want. You don't want to hear the reality of the situation. But to me, that's just ridiculous. Like, why would you? You need to hear the uncomfortable truth sometimes. And I've been put in that, like, that position where someone's telling me something that makes me uncomfortable. But it's like, sometimes you need to hear those things. You need to, like, sit in the discomfort and, like, learn how to handle it, manage it, and, like, move past it. And you also need to know, like, how to communicate with those closest to you, because that's going to strengthen your relationship. It's going to make it so that, like, you both understand each other on a very deep level and that you both feel comfortable talking to each other, no matter what the topic or what the situation. And I think that's very important. I think that's why it bugs me so much, because I'm so big on, like, open communication, because I want to have those, like, close connections with people and I want to understand people. And for me, it's just like, I am trying to understand you as a friend, as a coworker, whatever. Like, I'm trying to understand what you want, what angle you're coming from, and, like, I can't get that if you are unwilling to give me the information that I need. It's very frustrating. And yeah, like I said, I know that's, like, probably just me, as an autistic person, like, just not wanting things to be very direct, because I hate, something I've always hated is, like, trying to decipher what it is and, like, decode what someone is trying to say to me. That's one of the problems I have with, like, social like, typical, like, oh, social cues that everybody's supposed to know, because it's like something that, like, one person does that might indicate, like, oh, this person's, like, annoyed or whatever. Like, somebody else might not do that. And to me, it's ridiculous to expect people to just, like, oh, like, let's decipher everybody's, like, weird things that they might do when they're mad, or, oh, they're, like, trying to say something to you, but they're, like, worried and they don't know what to say. It's like, I don't need all that, okay? That just complicates everything. I'm not saying, like, don't be emotional. Obviously, like, everyone has emotions and feelings. I hate that trope too. Like, oh, you don't understand emotions. That's, first of all, so stupid. Yes, I get, like, as I said before, like, situations are uncomfortable. I get that. I get that, like, people don't want to, but at the end of the day, like, you have to. You have to learn how to communicate clearly with another person. You have to know how to talk to other people. Like, you can't expect everyone to just know, like, oh, she's upset because whenever she's mad, she, like, makes that face. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's like, just say, I'm upset about this. I need you to do this. I would really appreciate it if this. Like, how hard is that to do? And I say this, like, have I struggled with this in the past? Of course. Like, I think everybody has at a certain point, especially when I was younger, like, yeah, you kind of struggle. With me, it was always a struggle, like, emotionally. Like, I didn't like opening up about, like, oh, I'm feeling upset or sad, or, like, this thing is really weighing on me, could you help? That's something that, like, I have always hated doing, again, because, yeah, I understand feeling uncomfortable and embarrassed. Nobody likes to just, like, open up about, like, everything in their life. But if it's with someone that you're comfortable with, and again, the idea is to, like, have a clear conversation with someone because you need something from them, or you need to communicate something to them at that moment, yeah, you need to kind of get past that and say, like, hey, look, this is what I require of you right now, or this is what I need from you. It's that simple. And once I started, like I said, I wasn't always like this. It always bugged me, but I wasn't always just, like, as upfront as I wanted to be. And lately, like, now that I have been able to say, like, hey, I'm feeling frustrated about this, or hey, could you help, blah, 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 things like that. Like, I've noticed, like, yeah, my life, or at least my immediate, like, my closer relationships have gotten a lot better just because, like, I am able to communicate with people in a much more effective way. And they are able to, in turn, communicate with me. Because I think once you open that door and you show people, like, hey, I'm direct, they tend to be direct with you, at least from my experience, because they can see, like, oh, this person isn't going to be, like, upset if I'm direct, or, like, I can be direct as they're being to me. And I think that's very important, because a lot of times I feel like people, at least for me, the reason I wasn't direct is because I understood, like, so many people aren't direct communicators and they take it as, like, a personal attack, or they just don't know how to react to it. So I was always one of those people, like, okay, I'm just going to be quiet. not say too much. I'm not gonna, be as direct as I would like to be because I can understand that most people don't appreciate that. But now I'm like, yeah, being direct, my phone, being direct is very important and it's helped me a lot. And for me, it's like if that helps me communicate better, then that's what I'm going to do. And I wish that more people would be direct communicators. It's just like, please, like even if you like just try at the very least try to convey yourself, like express things clearly and concisely if possible. Like that, this video turned into more of a rant, but like that's just what I felt like talking about today because I cannot tell you how annoyed I get when I have to keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again because this person doesn't understand, this person doesn't, because the person that is giving the message is not clear. So now everybody's confused. Everyone's running around. No one knows what to do because instead of just giving the message in a way that's like, hey, this is what I need, allowing people to ask questions, answering those questions, and then saying, hey, are we all on the same page? And hopefully we all are. And if we're not, then like you can talk to people individually, but whatever, like at least be direct in a way where you can say, this is what I need. Other people can say, okay, I got it, ask questions, and then we all can exist in a universe where we all kind of get where you're coming from. Because when you're indirect, now you allow everybody to come up with their own things and then no one understands what's happening except for you. And it's obviously not going to help you if you need other people involved and they don't know what the heck you're talking about. So yeah, just direct communication like that. It makes me happy when people come to me and say, hey, XYZ. And then I can say XYZ and they're like, yes, XYZ. And then that's it. It's so beautiful when that happens. When I can have that connection with someone where it's like, yes, tell me what you need. Thank you. Don't be afraid. This is like my open invitation. Hell, I mean, I've heard mean comments before. Being direct is not the same as being mean. That's a whole other thing. Like that's ties into the whole like you're being blunt. Like being direct is not the same as being rude. I think that's what people just like they can't distinguish between the two. Like just because someone's like direct with you and upfront with you, that's not the same as like I'm gonna attack you and be nasty to you. Like those are not the same thing at all. Don't get that twisted. But yeah, like just be direct. Be direct and open. And I can't guarantee anything because I'm not any type of professional. These are just the thoughts that come into my brain and then I put them on video for people to watch. But what I can say is from personal experience, being direct has helped me a lot. And I hope that it helps other people because it's great. It's a great one. Communication. When it works, it's good. So yeah, I think that's just gonna be it for this short video. Again, I don't really have. I kind of want these to be just about whatever. I know people don't like that when it's just like I'm just gonna make videos about whatever I want, but this is the reality of it. I'm gonna make videos about whatever I want. So yeah, thanks for watching. Again, as always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I'll try to read them, and if you guys have any ideas for like suggestions, topics, whatever, you can leave those down there too. Not sure what the next video is going to be. I kind of think of these like kind of, I wouldn't say randomly. I try to write down my ideas, but usually it's just whatever I feel like doing at the time. So not sure what the next video is going to be exactly, but stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.